Email hacking is potentially the next big scandal. So says a Conservative MP who's on the Commons Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee, which has been looking into phone hacking. That's Damien Collins. He was responding to this admission from Sky News that it had authorised the journalist to hack into the emails of people suspected of criminal activity. They'd done so on 2 occasions. They say it was in the public interest. Is that a defence? Because, as some texters have pointed out, when you do it, you can't be quite sure whether what you're going to get will illustrate criminal activity or lack of it. Let's talk to Peter Preston, former editor of the Guardian newspaper, and Martin Campbell, new chair of the Broadcast Journalism Training Council and a former Ofcom advisor as well. So, Peter, what's your take on this?
I think everybody needs to be very careful about this, but also to be fairly calm. The 2 cases raised in Sky's situation both seem to me to have a perfectly strong public interest defence. One, the one that's got all the headlines, tapping into the emails of somebody, John Darwin, who was alleged to be missing and then wasn't, and that information was given to the police and formed part of the case against him.
Yeah, the trouble is when they did it, they didn't know, I mean, they were fishing to some extent.
Well, no, but this is a terrible blank on any kind of investigative journalism, because you investigate to find out what the situation is. You don't investigate because you know what the situation could be. No point in investigating. So, I mean, as long as with the BBC, and Lord Leveson has been saying, Lord Justice Leveson has been saying this himself, as long as there's a reasonable audit trail of people being asked higher up the chain, is this okay, which appears to have happened here, and it being sanctioned, i.e. not sort of lightly entered, I think you'd have to say on this particular instance, though everybody gets very excited, quite rightly, about words like hacking, and the whole subject is pretty toxic, nevertheless, it would be wrong to get too censorious about this case.
Right. What about you, Martin Campbell? What do you say to your young journalists if they say, am I ever allowed to hack somebody's emails?
Yeah, I think, on the surface, it does look, from what we know, as if the public interest was being served here. But, the debate is well worth having. You'll get a holier-than-thou response, I would imagine, from certain quarters and from certain newspapers. But as you alluded to earlier, the big question, of course, with these sort of cases always is, what if they got it wrong, and what if they were targeting innocent people? And, would it really come as a surprise if fishing expeditions were being carried out? It wouldn't to me.
No, I'll come back to you, Peter. Supposing I were to say to you, I reckon those MPs are up to something, and I'd like to check up on their emails. Is that legitimate or not? How much evidence do I need before I get involved in that?
Well, you need more evidence than that. Take what the now reviled Press Complaints Commission did a couple of years over the Daily Telegraph penchant for going around MPs with a couple of nice girl reporters saying, we're innocent constituents, can you tell us what you think about the Liberal Democrats or your Tory partners? That was deemed then to be too big a trawl. On the other hand, a couple of weeks ago, was the Sunday Times wrong to delve in, to do a sting with fairly good evidence of whether the Conservative co-treasurer was asking for things under pretty grotesque circumstances or not? Clearly he was. You can't be blanket about this. You have to be judicious and careful.
Martin, is there a danger at the moment because of the focus on illicit practices that journalists are going to be hamstrung, that we're not going to get any proper investigative reporting?
Yes, that is the big problem. Because I think also one of the things that this case does do, and of course the public interest test is about as clear-cut as the fit and proper test that Ofcom's doing with B-Sky B at the moment. What this does do is open the lid on perhaps the biggest problem facing the media, and as well as viewers, listeners, and readers, and politicians, and that is the regulation of technology within the media. Because at a time when IPTV and other boxes are sending more unregulated information into the living room, they're replacing the dear old box. It's all about methods and delivery, and it's a nettle that politicians do seem a little bit unwilling to grasp. And of course, the problem always will be is that once you start regulating this. Regulation never stops until the time arrives that someone says this has gone too far, and it goes down to nothing again. But there is a danger of a massive clampdown, and I would agree with Peter that I don't think this in isolation is anything to get excited about, but the regulation of technology within the media certainly is something to get excited about, and that is going to be the next big thing.
Okay, thank you to both. That's Martin Campbell and Peter Preston. It's now 18 minutes before 7.